Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be discussing about thyroid gland. Okay, in this video we'll be talking about something about thyroid gland, how thyroid hormone is secreted, and bit function about thyroid gland and bit applied, right? So let's start the video. So first of all, thyroid gland. So this is situated at neck or root of neck on either side of trachea. We know that, right? There are two lobes which are connected by isthmus. So the weight of gland is around 20 to 40 gram. Okay, there are follicle cells which are located around a cavity which is called thyroglobulin. We'll see this. Okay, so follicle cells secrete the thyroid hormone T3 and T4, right? There are parafollicular cells as well which secrete calcitonin. Fine. Within these two hormones T3 and T4, around 90% concentration is T4 and 10% concentration is T3. Okay, so when we talk about potency, then T3 is more potent. Okay, so if this is thyroid gland, let's see. So this is thyroid gland at root of neck. If we see one thyroid gland and see what is situated within thyroid gland, if we see the structure, then we can see that there are follicle cells which are arranged around the central cavity where the colloid is present. So this secretion, the colloid, having thyroglobulin. Okay, we'll see what is this thyroglobulin. Okay, so this is the structure of follicles. Now, first of all, we should be knowing that how this thyroid hormone is secreted here. Okay, so what is the regulation part? Separately, you can be asked about this regulation part. So you should be knowing this thing, that how this synthesis and regulation occurs. Fine, synthesis we'll see next, but let's see first regulation. So whenever there is decreased metabolic rate or some hormones can also influence. So ultimately, hypothalamus, this releases thyroid releasing hormone TRH, right? So TRH is being released in anterior pituitary, and this acts on anterior pituitary to stimulate anterior pituitary to secrete TSH hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, right? So this TSH, when released, it acts on thyroid gland and make it stimulate to secrete T3 and T4. Now, if you get regulation part, so you should be knowing these 3 points only. Okay, and now this every whatever product is, it has some negative feedback mechanism, which basically whenever this concentration increases, it can inhibit the further influence to further stimulate this secretion. Okay, so increase in T3 T4 will inhibit TSH secretion and inhibit TRH secretion. So this will the regulation occur. So separately regulation can be asked with you people, right? So next is synthesis. So synthesis of thyroid hormone, this occurs in these steps. Thyroglobulin is synthesized first of all, iodine trapping occur, then iodide oxidation occur, iodination of tyrosine occur, and coupling reaction occur. So one by one we'll see what are these 5 steps. Okay, so this is the membrane of thyroid gland where TSH is acting to secrete thyroid secretion. Okay, so it basically acts on some receptors and ultimately it lead to some synthesis of second messenger, right, and release of the thyroid hormone. Now we have to see today that how thyroid hormone is being released. Fine, so let's see how. So these are the follicle cells. Okay, these are the follicle cells, and this is a blood vessels which is just beside the follicle cells. Okay, so what happens, there are circulating ions present over there. There can be iodide ion, there can be sodium ion, there can be other ions. Okay, so what happens basically in colloid, there is sodium iodide symporter present, right? With the help of that sodium and iodide, they enters the follicle cell. Okay, and how this is maintained, there is sodium potassium pump which brings this sodium back to the vessel, and this can carry on. So this way, now we have in follicle cell we have iodide, right? Now this iodide we need to transport in the colloid where iodine basically thyroid hormone synthesis occur, right? So this iodide to transport in the colloid part, there is pendrine present, which is a chloride iodide antiporter exchanger, you can say. So iodide will come into the this colloid part and chloride will go into the follicle cell in exchange of that iodide. Okay, fine. So but before that, these follicle cells, they secrete and pack the thyroglobulin and secrete into the colloid. What is thyroglobulin? It's nothing but a chain of tyrosine molecules. Okay, 141 tyrosine molecule is thyroglobulin, which is nothing but a chain of these cyclic molecules. Okay, so this is a tyrosine. One tyrosine is shown here. Okay, so basically iodide has come to the colloid part, and now there is need of peroxidase. Now this peroxidase, it basically oxidizes this into iodine molecule. Okay, now this iodination occurs. So when this iodine molecule is ready, it basically combine with the tyrosine. These tyrosine residues are present. So tyrosine, when combined with one iodine, it becomes monoiodotyrosine. When tyrosine will combine with two iodine, it becomes diiodotyrosine. So if only one existing, then it's monoiodo. If both the side it exists, it's diiodo. So MIT and DIT form, right? Now this MIT, if this one MIT combined with DIT, it becomes T3 hormone, and if DIT combined with DIT, it becomes T4 hormone, and if vice versa reaction occur, it can be reverse T3. Okay, so till now I think you understood that how the hormone synthesis occur, but these are in colloid. Okay, so these molecules, now these molecules enter in form of a vesicle, they again enter into colloid likewise. Okay, combining with a lysosome, they make the endosome, right? So they basically pack up in a vesicle, combine with the lysosome and become endosome. From here, what happens basically, the hormones are released into colloid here, follicle cell here, and the rest residue MIT, DIT, and they are reused. Okay, and now the hormones are released here and they go to the circulation. In circulation, they bind to thyroid binding hormone, proteins, and they go to the target organ. Okay, so what is the target organ? So thyroid, we'll be discussing in the few minutes that what is action of thyroid. Okay, so they basically acts on some cells, whatever is the target cell, and acts on some nuclear receptor, retinoid AX receptor. Okay, and ultimately lead to some mRNA synthesis or protein synthesis and do their action. So let's see what are actions of thyroid hormone. So what are functions of thyroid hormone? So how thyroid is needed for our body? It increases BMR, basal metabolic rate. Energy required for body function at rest is called BMR. Increase in oxygen consumption, and that's why it's calorigenic. Okay, so calorigenic it is, thyroid hormone. For proteins, it does is it increase protein synthesis, it stimulate RBC synthesis, it increases the RNA translation, DNA transcription, increase enzyme activity. For carbohydrate, it increase glucose absorption in GIT and cells. Okay, and it increase glycogenolysis. Fine, increase glucose concentration as well, increase gluconeogenesis, glucose formation is increased. Okay, then fats, it mobilize fats to fatty acid, okay, into the blood. It decreases the storage of fat. Liver, it decreases the cholesterol and phospholipids, it decreases triglyceride level in blood and increase fat deposition in liver. It can cause fatty liver. Okay, hypersecretion in vitamin deficiency is often found. It increases the heat production, as we know that it increases BMR, so increase heat production. Okay, so BMR reduce, heat production expenditure reduce, so it reduces in weight. Increase in growth and development. In CVS, it increases the rate and force of contraction, increase systolic blood pressure. And it also causes vasodilation, so decrease DBP, diastolic blood pressure. In respiration, it increases the BMR, so there is more oxygen demands, that's why there is increase in respiratory rate. In GIT, increase BMR, that means we have more appetite, more intake, right? CNS, it promotes growth and development, it increases blood flow to brain. Skeletal, it needed for muscle functioning proteins. Hypersecretion can be catabolic and it causes muscle weakness. In sleep, obviously when there is overstimulation of CNS, increase in BMR, that can actually prevent sleep. We can't sleep because of that. So, and hyposecretion can lead to somnolence as well. Sexual function, if we talk about, whenever there is hyposecretion, there can be decreased libido in male and menorrhagia in female, and hypersecretion lead to impotence in male and oligomenorrhea in females. Okay, so last we'll be talking about the applied aspect of thyroid gland. So there can be hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Hypothyroid, don't be confused about these terms. Hypothyroid mean less hormone. Hyperthyroid mean large quantity of hormone T3, T4 here. Okay. So how you will distinguish that? So TSH will be increased whenever there is less thyroid hormone T3, T4. So increase in TSH you'll find in hypothyroid, not hyperthyroid, right? So in hyperthyroid there will be high concentration of hormones, so TSH can't be high. Okay, so this way you can identify both. So let's just talk about briefly into these two. So hypothyroid, basically you have seen goiter, which is just a symptom, that is enlargement of thyroid gland, because basically what happens is there are goitrogens which can stimulate goiter. They increase TSH. So in this what happens is there is increase in TSH. Thyroid stimulating hormone is high. That's why it stimulates this gland and hypertrophy of this gland occur. So this often come with iodine deficiency, goiter, right? There excess iodide if present, they can also inhibit thyroid release and increase TSH. So that way also there can be goiter. Some monoions perchlorate or thiocyanate, they can also inhibit iodide pump. Okay, so iodine pump is inhibited. That means iodide will not be coming into colloid. So there are anti-thyroid drug PTU and methimazole. They block iodine coupling. Okay, so these are some goitrogens which can actually increase TSH and ultimately goiter can occur. So these are hypothyroid conditions. Myxedema and cretinism. Cretinism when mother is not having sufficient iodine, so hypothyroid in babies, right, at birth. And myxedema is basically after birth whenever there is hypothyroidism. So there is decreased circulating free T3, T4 concentration of hormone. Okay, so let's see symptom of myxedema. So there can be puffy face, preorbital swelling, coarse scalp hair, ptosis. Cold intolerance will be there in hypothyroid and vice versa in hyper. Okay, decreased BMR, increased cholesterol level you can find in symptoms. Memory loss, mental retardation, stunted growth, sexual immaturity. Talking about hyperthyroid, obviously thyroid hormone will be more and that's why TSH is less. Okay, this is Graves' disease, which is also called exophthalmic goiter, thyrotoxicosis or toxic goiter, right? Autoimmune disorder this is, and thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins are formed which stimulates thyroid gland, and that's why there is again hypertrophy. Okay, increased BMR, here heat intolerance you will find, osteoporosis can occur, thyroid diabetes, hyperglycemia will be there, exophthalmos, basically protruded eyeball will be there because of infiltration of fat, water, lymph and muscle hypertrophy. Because of that there is protruded eyeball. Okay, lid retraction can occur. How we can treat it? Anti-thyroid beta blockers and iodine can be given. Okay, so this is all about thyroid gland, the synthesis of thyroid hormone and applied aspect of thyroid gland. I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. Thank you.